Bata Manga.
My name is Natsu. My mother was astonished when she saw me as a newborn. Ugh, why are you born ugly, just like my sister? My aunt looks plain, but she's brilliant and well-liked by those around her. My mother has always hated my aunt, so she abandoned me because she didn't like my resemblance to her. She forced my grandmother and aunt to take care of me, and she gave birth to her second child who was absolutely beautiful. She gave birth to her second child a year later. You're a pretty girl just like me. For some reason in my family, the first one is ugly, and the second one comes out beautiful. And so I lived my life being constantly compared to my beautiful mother and sister in terms of looks. The clothes I was given were often rags from secondhand stores, and there were no birthday presents. My father was a workaholic and was barely home, so there was no point in asking for him for help. Dad.
Go to bed.
So no matter how badly I was treated, I'll grow up and leave home as soon as possible. I lived my whole life without giving in, with that as my only hope. When I entered high school, I started working part-time and saved up the money from my part-time job to buy tickets to my favorite artist. Then one day, for some reason, I saw my sister Rie holding a ticket to the artist I had purchased. That's my ticket, isn't it?
Yeah, it was on your desk, so I took it.
Why would you do that?
What? Because I love this artist. Give it to me.
No, I saved up all the money from my part-time job to buy these tickets.
Ugh, what a cheapskate. Mom, Natsu's being mean.
Natsu, you're the older sister. You should at least give your sister a ticket. Even if I give it to her, she better pay me.
What? I don't have that kind of money. Natsu, you're not only ugly but also stingy. What a terrible sister.
No way, Rie. You have money because you get an allowance, right? I don't get any allowance. I work part-time to make ends meet. Rie is beautiful and pretty. She needs a lot of clothes for dates, right? Natsu doesn't have anyone to go on dates with, so you don't have to spend money. I refused to give up on the tickets, so my mother gave Rie money for the tickets as an allowance, and Rie finally agreed. I decided once again to leave home after high school. Then one day, I met what would become my future dream. When I went to a farmer's field trip in high school, I saw a bunch of tomatoes growing from stalks that grew as large as trees in hydroponic. It was so fascinating and moving. I want to make these with my own hands. I told my parents about it as soon as I got home. I want to go to college and study agriculture.
That sounds nice.
College? I don't have any money to spend on you.
That's right. There won't be enough money for me to study abroad.
Study abroad? That's right. Rie wants to study abroad, so I decided to go along with her. I mean, Rie is a beautiful and pretty girl, right? I decided to go with her because I didn't want to risk some strange guy following her. But that would require money, right? That's why I'm going to use Natsu's college tuition to pay for both of us to go abroad. So Natsu, you're going to give up on college. Even if you go to college, you'll be miserable because you're such an ugly-looking girl. It was so awful that I couldn't stop crying. Then I ran away to my aunt's house. My aunt, who knew I always endured no matter how badly I was treated, was surprised to see me crying so hard. When I told her what happened, her face grew angry. Natsu, go to college. I'll pay for everything. I've always taken pity on your situation. But I'm so proud of you for not being dented in the midst of it all and living your life to the fullest. So, I'll fully support you. Auntie, thank you. I was so happy I couldn't stop crying. And so after I graduated from high school, I stayed at my aunt's house, studied agriculture, which I wanted to in college, and lived a fulfilling life. About 2 years later, my mother came to visit my aunt and I. Rie is getting married. Rie? Getting married? What happened to her study abroad? According to my mother, when she joined a study abroad club at university to gather information on foreign countries, she met Shota, an alumni. He's an elite employee at a major trading company and apparently
handsome.
That's my girl, to get an elite handsome guy right away in college. Unlike Natsu, that girl is brilliant.
Is that what you came here to brag about? We're just chatting so far. About the wedding. Natsu, I don't want you to come.
What?
Why?
I told them she's my only daughter. They wouldn't like it if she had an ugly sister like this, would they?
So don't come to the wedding and stay out of our lives after the marriage. Even your father said if that's our decision, it's fine.
Unbelievable as a mother. After telling me she can't pay for my tuition, she even told me not to get involved after their marriage.
It's too much.
I couldn't stop crying.
My aunt cried with me as if it were her own. I was down for the next few days, but when I got past that, I was angry with my mother and Rie for what they had done to me so far.
Auntie, I can't just let my mom and Rie get away with this. I want to do something to make them gasp.
Yeah, I agree.
We devised a plan, but it didn't take long to come up with an idea, and the collaborators came together quickly. Mom, I just want to make sure again. I'm not allowed to go to the wedding, right? You're a nuisance coming out of the blue. That's right, just like I said before. Shoo! You can't come even if you want to. If they found out she has an ugly sister, it'll be a disaster.
I understand. I checked again, but it was the same. I contacted my aunt and our collaborators using the voice recorder I had in my hand as an evidence. And on the day of the wedding, I got a call from my mother.
Natsu! Call Aunt Haru and Uncle Koji. They're not at the venue. No matter how many times I call them, they don't answer.
I see. That's tough. Aunt Haru and Uncle Koji are all here with us though.
We're having a sushi party right now, so don't interrupt us.
What are you talking about? You should get over here too, sis. It's Rie's wedding. In fact, I recorded my mother and Rie's outburst on the voice recorder and played it for all the relatives to hear. My mother has always discriminated against the ugly team of relatives, and when relatives who didn't think well of my mother heard about how they treated me, they decided to boycott the wedding when they were invited. You don't want ugly people at your wedding, do you?
Oh no! Shota's parents are upset. Please come. If you don't, the marriage will get cancelled.
Yet none of us went. According to my cousin, who was the only one present to scout the event, Shota's mother getting down on her knees to her parents and Rie, whose makeup was sloppy from tears, surprised them most. Later, I went with my aunt to Shota's home to apologize.
Who would have thought Rie had a sister?
And Shota couldn't hide his shock. Rie's marriage was broken off after they found out about them trying to hide my existence.
The marriage broke off because of you. They are even charging me for the wedding. What are you going to do?
You brought this on yourself, didn't you? I'm cutting you off. Stay out of my life. After that, my father apparently left with divorce papers when her daughters came of age. According to my aunt, my father had an accident in the car he drove with my mother in it and married her to take responsibility for the accident. Perhaps he was at my mother's beck and call because he felt guilty about the accident. My mother apparently relied on Rie, but after Rie paid for the ceremony with her father's share of the assets, my mother, who has been a housewife for many years, was forced to work. I saw her working at the supermarket, but she looked tired, both mentally and physically. I was discriminated against since I was a little girl, so I had no intentions of helping my mother. I live happily with my aunt. I vowed that if I ever got married and have children in the future, I would never discriminate against them and take good care of them. When I was in college, I showed up for the first time in a while to a drinking party of my club, which I had been too busy to show up for a long time. Hey! Long time no see! Ooh! A man named Tano, who joined the club after I stopped coming, was also there. Incidentally, this man was a very good-looking asshole who repeatedly went for women and dumped them soon after.
Don't mind if I do.
I only greeted him lightly at the beginning, and the rest of the time, I was having a drink with my friends at another table. Then,
When we were about halfway through the drink, Tano stormed over to our table. And even though we'd never met before,
You're pretty cute. Hey, do you have a boyfriend?
he asked me, thinking, what a nuisance. Yes, I have a boyfriend, and I'm super in love with him. I lied and tried to avoid him. I thought if I told him that, he'd give up and go somewhere else to sit, but that didn't happen, and he kept coming over onto me, even after that.
Blah 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 blah.
I wasn't really that much pretty, but this was Tano's way. He didn't really talk to the really cute girls, but praised and praised the normal girls to get them in the mood and get them to do the deed. I had heard about his trick beforehand, so...
Don't people say you look like Satomi Ishihara? You're a bit of a healer, aren't you?
I heard him praising me, and I thought, apologize to Satomi Ishihara. I wasn't flirtatious no matter how much he wooed me, so Tano made his next move. He started boasting about his history.
I recently got asked out again and I told her I had a girlfriend and turned her down, but she insisted, so I went out with her. Isn't that super nice of me? And then after that, the mother told me to give her a good time too, but give me a break. He's hitting on someone again.
Yeah.
I told her, screw you, old lady. Ask me after you get rid of 10 wrinkles. Isn't that hilarious?
He blabbered on and on about things I didn't really want to hear. Ah, you're so kind. You're so popular. Ah, that's funny. You're irresistible. And went along. Then, Tano started to get carried away, touching my thighs and stroking my hair.
So, you want to try at least once? I'm pretty good, you know.
He said as he blew on my ear, so I started to feel really sick. He even started criticizing his friend's appearance, one of the women he went for and threw away. Finally,
I've gone through so many, and I didn't get any of them pregnant. Isn't that amazing?
when he said that, my mind reached to a breaking point and something snapped inside. Oh, really? Then you should go to the hospital and have it checked out.
Huh? What's wrong?
Because if you've never gotten someone pregnant after all that, there must have been something wrong with your sperm. Your sperm! It's better to get those things checked out and know them early. It's important. I can refer you to a good hospital if you like. I'll tell my uncle, who's a doctor, that your sperm is abnormal. Your sperm. After blabbering that loud enough so everyone could hear, I gave the secretary the money for my drink and went home quickly.
Thank you.
But when I went home and cooled down, I suddenly felt embarrassed that I had yelled out sperm in front of so many people, and I stopped going to the club. Then, 6 months later, I heard from my friend Yumi, who had been thrown away, as Tano said at that time. Hey, how are you? Wanna go out for dinner for the first time in a while? I got a call from Yumi. I'm good! I mean, how are you, Yumi? I know it's hard to say, but you've been down since Tano left. It's been hard for me to talk to you. Thanks for the concern. By the way, I need to talk to you about that. If you're free today or something, I'd love to have dinner with you. We should go at a family restaurant near the university and talk. I had no plans that day, so I agreed to meet up with her in the evening. Then, in the evening, I went to the family restaurant and found a few girls I didn't know, sitting there with my friend. And as soon as we met, they all thanked me. I wondered what was going on and asked, and they were all girls who had been devoured and dumped by Tano. After I left that drinking party, Tano...
What is she talking about? That woman, she's an idiot.
He tried to laugh it off, but people around who knew how much of an asshole Tano is. She's right, Tano might be. The drinking session ended without any further discussion. After that, my theory of Tano's abnormal sperm quickly spread throughout the university, perhaps because many people resented him.
You know about it?
No way.
Taneo. Taneo.
I feel bad. Then, the theory began to circulate not only about the sperm abnormality, but also the possibility that he might be having an STD. Then, his male friends began to dislike him and distance themselves from Tano, and he became isolated.
Yo.
He barely had any guy friends to begin with, as he would sleep with their girlfriends.
Let's go.
And the guy he used to hang out with was a nerdy guy who looked like he didn't have a girlfriend. But the nerd was actually fed up with Tano boasting about his popularity, so he took advantage of the situation and broke it off with Tano.
Oh my.
The girls who had been fooled by Tano's good-looking aura somehow moved away from him, and Tano was on the verge of becoming a loner.
Hey.
Let's go. Then he started becoming quiet and stayed to himself for a while.
Taneo, what happened to school? I'm not going.
But that was only for a short time, and soon...
Oh yeah. If I don't have sperm, I can do it raw as much as I want.
Tano became defiant. He would pick up a bunch of bitchy girls in the bar and have sex with them all. But there didn't seem to be anything wrong with his sperm, and he got his partner pregnant easily, and he was pressured to get married.
I have no sperm, so it's not possible for you to get pregnant. Maybe you were having sex with someone else which got you pregnant. If you're saying it's my child, show me proof.
Tano willfully refused to admit that it was not his fault, but...
You got a lot of nerve getting someone pregnant than trying to escape responsibility.
And was beaten up by the other partner's father, who was one size bigger than Tano.
Hey, sign this.
He was forced to sign the marriage certificate and they got married. He then left college to work for a construction company owned by a relative of the other partner.
No.
Needless to say, the university was, albeit somberly, jubilant. And the girls were so grateful to me because it was thanks to me that they were able to get revenge on Tano, and they even bought me dinner. I had no idea that was happening in the university while I was away job hunting. Delicious! Later, when I talked to another friend at the university, I was astonished to hear that I was treated like a hero at the university for standing up to save girls who had suffered so terribly. If I were a man, this might have created an opportunity with one of the girls, but unfortunately, they were splendid women in mourning, unattractive women, so that never happened. Sad. I want a boyfriend. Uh-huh. Since then, I still hadn't have a boyfriend, but I got a job offer from the company I wanted, which made me happier than having a boyfriend. As for Tano, I assume that now he has a child and a job. He might be a little more decent, raising a nice family.
Huh.
I'm not sure if it's just who he is, but after turning 20, it seems that no matter how much he tries to rehabilitate himself, he can't fix it.
You're my everything.
Oh my. Apparently, he was cheating on his wife again and again, and when his father found out, he was so angry that he grabbed his balls and made them useless. I am Tanako. I live with my husband's in-laws. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are very nice and kind to me. My husband is always thoughtful of me too. We don't have children yet, but we were living very happily. But even for someone like me, I was carrying a problem. It was my sister-in-law. She has a daughter named Ako, who is in kindergarten. Here, Tanako. Thanks for taking care of her again. Like this, my sister-in-law often made me take care of Ako. My sister-in-law's husband, or brother-in-law, is out of the prefecture on an assignment. Yet, my sister-in-law always leaves the children at my parents-in-law's house and goes out, and she always comes home late. Could you pick her up a little earlier? It's cold late at night, and there's a chance that Ako might catch a cold. Besides, it would be a pity to wake her up. I know you don't understand, but it's hard taking care of a child every day. Let me take a break every now and then. But my sister-in-law brings Ako to me once every 2 days. You should think more about Ako. Shut up! You've never even had a child, so I don't need you to tell me what to do. Saying this, my sister-in-law began rummaging through the fridge. My sister-in-law comes to my house and takes all the meat, eggs, and vegetables in the fridge and takes them home. Come on! There's nothing in here! I had to stop buying things to counteract that. Are you serious? My sister-in-law is clearly in the wrong, but she always throws a tantrum whenever I point it out. I had to do my best to calm her down, so she wouldn't make a scene in the middle of the night and wake up the whole family. In addition, she stopped taking Ako to kindergarten because she thought it was a hassle. Ako said she wanted to go to kindergarten. It's too much trouble, and there's a fixed pickup time. That's normal. If she goes to kindergarten, she can play with her friends, and it'll be good for her. Shut up! Don't you feel sorry for Ako? She's my child, so I can do what I want with her. Stop telling me what to do. My sister-in-law didn't change after all, and kept leaving her child at my parents-in-law's house after that. Of course, my husband and mother-in-law warned her many times during that time, but nothing worked. As soon as Ako comes to my in-law's house, "Hey, Auntie, I'm hungry." She says that every time, and I wondered why. So I asked her, "Ako, what kind of food does your mom always make for you? What's your favorite thing that she cooks?" And she gave me the most unbelievable answer. "Mom never cooks. She always tells me to eat at Auntie's." What? Are you kidding me? So you don't eat at home? Yeah. This is unbelievable. This is completely child neglect. I could not contain my anger towards my sister-in-law. I found out why Ako is always hungry. But the original culprit is that sister-in-law. I don't think she'll take it up with me, so I decided to do what I can for now. Then I'll make pancakes for you today. Pancakes? I want some! Then let's make them together. I'll get it ready. After dinner, as the two of us were taking a walk, a car suddenly plowed towards Ako. "Ako! Look out!" I ran in front of Ako to protect her. Pain shot through my entire body in a daze of consciousness. "Auntie! Auntie! Are you okay?" I heard Ako's voice. When I woke up, I was in a hospital and my husband and in-laws were there.
Tanako, you're awake?
Tanako, are you okay? Wait. Did I...
You're hit by a car while shielding Eiko. Do you remember?
Oh. Right. Is Ako okay?
She's fine thanks to you. She's only got a scratch.
The mother-in-law who was standing by her husband's side replied, "Thank God." Then my sister-in-law and Ako came into the hospital room, first as Ako cried, "Auntie, are you okay? I'm sorry." "It's okay now. I'm sorry I scared you." Then my sister-in-law beside her, "It's your fault she got hurt. You're going to pay me alimony, aren't you?" Alimony? I was still unable to grasp the situation and was confused by my sister-in-law's words. Then, my husband.
Why should Tanako pay alimony? Tanako took it upon herself to save Eiko's life. What are you talking like that for? It's your fault for always pushing your kids to your parents' house in the first place. We told you to take care of your own kids. Stop messing around.
Why is it my fault? It's Tanako's fault for not looking after Ako properly.
It's your fault, no matter how you look at it. Tanako can't walk because of you.
What? I can't walk anymore?
I was speechless at the shocking words from my husband.
My husband then forced my sister-in-law to bow down to me.
I'm so sorry for my stupid sister.
Crushed by shock and fear, I sobbed in front of my husband. I'm so glad that Akko wasn't seriously injured, but I sometimes cried because I couldn't accept the fact that I couldn't walk anymore. Then, a few days later, when I was discharged from the hospital, my sister-in-law came up to me. "You're finally out of the hospital. Then hurry up and take care of the kid," she said without no hesitation. My husband lost it at those words.
Are you kidding me? Do you know what you're saying?
That's right. I feel bad for Tanako helping my granddaughter. This house is even getting a renovation to make it easier for Tanako to live in who's in a wheelchair. What? You have that kind of money? If you have money to give to other people, then give it to me. Everyone was speechless. Husband shaking with anger, but unable to hold back yells.
That's enough. You just go out all the time. You're a piece of shit.
My husband's earnings aren't enough.
What kind of talk is that? He's working by himself out of town for you.
It doesn't matter what you say. What's not enough is not enough. Anyway, if you have money to give to others, give it to me. Oh, that's right. Tanako can even take care of Akko now that she's disabled, right? Then, there's no point in staying here anymore, is there? We don't need a disabled person in our house. In a wheelchair is just a hindrance. So why don't you just leave? Or would it be quicker if you disappeared? Then, she grabbed my wheelchair and pushed me down the front steps. Luckily, I didn't hit the injured part, but I cried because I couldn't stand what my sister-in-law's actions and words. Next to her, my husband was red in the face and was about to strike my sister-in-law at any moment. Then all of a sudden, the front door opens.
Do you know what you're doing?
A voice could be heard yelling. What? What are you? What happened with work? There was my brother-in-law, who was supposed to be out of the prefecture on an assignment.
I came home to say a few words of thanks to the person who saved my daughter's life. I got a call from my mother-in-law.
My sister-in-law was panicking by my brother-in-law's sudden appearance. "Mom, why did you contact him?" My sister-in-law lashed out at her own mother, as if she had done something unnecessary.
It's only natural. She saved my child's life. And I heard that you leave Aiko to your sister-in-law and don't look after her at all. I'm really sorry, brother-in-law and sister-in-law.
Wait, why are you apologizing?
Shut up. I'm divorcing you.
Oh, what? Divorce?
Wondering what you were doing while neglecting the kids. I didn't realize you were having an affair and playing around.
What? Is that true? No!
I'm sorry, but I've already done the research and I have all the evidence. I'm taking custody.
Wait, honey! Then, my sister-in-law was divorced and thrown out penniless and permanently insulated from her own in-laws. Apparently, she had an affair with a married man, which she was blamed for as well, and then got left behind. My sister-in-law has never worked, so she has no social experience whatsoever. She will never be able to live a decent life again because of the large amount of alimony she owes me and the alimony she owes her ex-husband. By the way, I've been working very hard on my rehab since then, and there's a chance that I may be able to walk again. I'm working hard with my husband and parents-in-law. I am a triplet with an older sister and a younger brother. My sister is already married and has left home, and I started living alone a year ago to go to work in Tokyo. One day, when I was still a student and living with my parents, I received a call from my youngest brother. "Sorry, I was on a business trip and couldn't answer the phone. What's up? You're still at school, right?"
I only had school for half a day. More importantly, Mum's having an affair. What should I do?
Mom having an affair?
Wait, I don't get it. She's not at an age to be having an affair anymore, though. My mother will be 50 next year, and I never heard of her doing something like that.
I don't want to believe it either, but it's true. I was walking down the street and at an intersection, Mum was arm in arm with a very young man, and they were flirting the whole time they were waiting at the light. I didn't want to believe it, and it made me want to throw up.
I wanted to believe it was a lie too, but I was at a loss because I didn't think my brother would lie either. Are you kidding me? Mom? Having an affair? Wait, I'll have to go. I'll call you later. I tried to calm myself down, but my mind was panicking and I couldn't think straight. Then I received a phone call again. I thought it was my brother, but this time it was my sister. Hey, I know you're working, but can you take a day off from noon? Is it about Mom by any chance? You knew? Brother called me just now and told me that he saw Mom and a young man he doesn't know walking arm in arm. So it's true. I actually got a call from Dad, and he wants you to come over and talk about Mom. I felt a sense of danger by the unusual situation. Explained the situation to my boss at work, and decided to take my sister's car and drive to my parents' house with a paid leave. My father and brother were already there. Wait, what's going on? And as soon as we arrived, my mother said the most ridiculous thing. Oh, now we're all here. I actually met the man of my dreams. I'm going to be with him. That's why I'm divorcing your dad. What are you talking about, Mom? Are you out of your mind? Think about how old you are. How old is he? He's 29. Are you kidding me? He's old enough to be your child. Age doesn't matter when you're in love. I don't know if she's in love with someone new or what. Right now, my mother's head is in a flower garden and she's not listening to anything anyone has to say. Dad!
I'm telling her to wake up too. If she changes her mind now, I'll forgive her for her delusion. But since she has no intention of doing so...
Wake up! You dummy. I realized my true love because I woke up, didn't I? My life has been such a bore until now. All I did was housework every day, and I didn't have any freedom. Didn't have any freedom? How dare you! Who do you think made it possible for you to be a housewife all your life? It's because Dad worked hard every day, and you were always going out with the neighbors, even on overnight spa trips. How dare you say something like that? My brother and I agreed with her on that. My father had a good income, so my mother was able to live on her own as a housewife for a long time. And my father was kind, so if my mother wanted to go out to eat with neighborhood friends, he would pay for it. And even if she said it was a vacation, he would gladly see her off. How could she tell him that her life was a bore or that she didn't have any freedom? My sister and I were beginning to feel fed up by our mother's words. But my brother, still in high school, didn't want to face the reality that his mom would betray his father and have an affair with a young man. He tried to convince his mother anyway. Despite that, she still didn't listen to him at all. And when she eventually left the house after divorcing my father, she only seemed to see her own happiness in front of her. Despite the fact that she's leaving her family behind with a twinkle in her eye. See you. She said that and left. We were not sure if there were any alimony issues between my father and mother because we were children and it was not our place to say anything about it. Thinking it would be hard for my father and brother to take care of the housework now that it was just the two of them, I decided to stop living alone and return to my parents' house.
Sorry to cause you so much trouble.
What are you talking about? Neither you nor my brother can do housework, right? You guys are terrible cooks too. My father laughed when I said that. My father must have been quite shocked because my mother cheated on him, but he was still the same father he had always been. Probably because he didn't want his children to worry, especially my youngest brother. My sister, who is married, started showing up several times a week,
and my brother-in-law often talked to my brother, so my brother who was down gradually regained his strength. And as the months passed, my younger brother who was in high school graduated from college and went on to live by himself. I also got engaged and my sister had a baby. After my brother left home, my father said he would live alone. But since my fiancé had circumstances and didn't have parents, he wanted us to move in with my father when we got married. When my father heard that,
I can't interfere with you newlyweds. Go on, live on your own.
he said that, but my fiancé, who was worried about my father more than me, really wanted to live with him, so he ended up giving in. My father was about to retire, and with half of his retirement and my fiancé's savings, we built a duplex and moved in the day we got married. My sister and brother came to the wedding, of course. It was a small but beautiful wedding, and my father was in tears. We were so happy that we had forgotten all about our mother. Then, one day, when my father and sister and brother and I returned home from shopping to have lunch together for the first time in a while, someone who looked like my mother was wandering around the house. And as soon as she saw our faces, she said, "Long time no see," and came up to us. "Hey, guys, I heard you guys built a duplex. I heard from your neighbors. What a nice house." Everyone was stunned. And then my sister, "What are you doing here after all this time?" "What do you mean? I came back."
What are you talking about? You left your family for a young man. There's no place for you to come back now.
"Don't say that. It was just a misunderstanding. Remember, I was good at housework, right? With a house this big, there's plenty of room for me." "Stop joking around. There's no home you can come back to now. Go home. If you don't leave, I'll call the police." My mother was horrified and momentarily freaked out when I said that. I'll be back," and left. Apparently, my father contacted my mother's parents after that, and my grandfather became very angry. My grandfather was always very fond of my father for his politeness and his kindness. My grandfather was already very angry with my mother when she abandoned him after she had an affair, but he was very relieved when he heard that our family was living happily. But he couldn't stand the fact that my mother was once again shaking up the family for her own selfish reasons. And my grandfather, despite being very old, took a detective to investigate my mother's background thoroughly, and sure enough, my mother had been abandoned by that young man. With nowhere to go and no money, she took advantage of my father's kindness and came back to our home. My father did say in the beginning that he would forgive my mother when she cheated on him, but it's too late now. Then, I heard my mother was not allowed to return to her parents' house and was forced to get a live-in job with a dormitory. It was a company that was famous for being corrupt, and there were rumors that people would quit immediately because of the harshness of the work and the low wages. My mother, who has no money and no place to live, won't be able to escape from there, and she would repent for what she did at best. My sister-in-law suddenly vanished, leaving behind her 3-year-old daughter and 6-year-old son. A year before she evaporated, she had divorced her husband, so she was raising them all on her own. The reason was because she had an affair. She had her son and then immediately had an affair with someone she met during a doctor's appointment. Her partner was also married, and apparently it was a love at first sight for her when she had taken her son to get his vaccines. She had kept flirting with him, knowing full well that he was already married. But in the end, his wife figured it out and sued her. Her husband demanded a divorce, but the mother-in-law was against it. "She just wavered a little because she just had a baby. It's your fault since you were so caught up in your work." The mother-in-law blamed the husband. The husband was also too good of a person and thought that maybe he was also at fault. He just let it go.
But her affairs didn't stop, and even after giving birth to their daughter, she had another affair with a different married man. Again, the mother-in-law started yapping about how she was weak because she had given birth or something, but he had enough. He demanded a divorce. The husband tried to take custody, but then he collapsed. The sister-in-law ended up taking custody, and then the mother-in-law. That's punishment for trying to chase away my lovely daughter. This is karma. She rubbed it in his face. They were so happy that they had custody of the kids after he had gotten sick, but the woman left her kids at her parents' place and vanished in the night. The mother-in-law just saw the kids alone in the room and a memo that read, "Take care of the kids for me." She had apparently eloped with a man. The mother-in-law, whose husband had already passed, was unable to raise the kids on her own. The ex-husband was also still going to the hospital frequently, so he couldn't take them in. That left my husband and I to take the kids in. At the time, we had a 4-year-old son, but he was an only child, so he was super excited to have a new brother and sister. Eventually, they were basically real siblings. They even started calling us mom and dad, and I loved them to death. But the mother-in-law kept saying things about how we were being mean to the adopted kids. She wouldn't stop spreading false rumors to both neighbors and relatives. On the other hand, she never said a thing about why her own flesh and blood had vanished into the night. Then, one day, a bunch of relatives and neighbors were in the house for an event. They were talking all trash about me in the corner. The ex-husband was here too, but he was also being treated the same way as me. Then, in the corner, she said this out loud. "I love my mommy. I love her so much that I'm going to be a great girl. I hate that old mom, and I don't want her. If I was raised by old mommy, I would have been living a terrible life. So I hate you, Grandma, for talking bad about mommy. I hate you," she yelled. The son also showed up and... "I hate you too, Grandma. All you do is lie and spread fake rumors about Mom. If you hurt Mom anymore, I'm never going to see you again." He also protected me. The ex-husband following suit.
If you keep going with these bullshit rumors, I'm gonna take this to the courts. You wanna be taken to court right before you die?
He glared into her soul. I didn't know, but apparently the mother-in-law had claimed that I had seduced the ex-husband, and that's why her daughter had ran away. Of course, after everything was brought to light, no one wanted to interact with the mother-in-law. The ex-husband was such a great person that he came to the family gatherings even after his ex-wife had an affair and left. The lonely mother-in-law spoke to the children. "You should feel sorry for Grandma." Eventually, she even started begging for money. But my daughter... "I don't know what you're talking about, and everyone is saying they hate your guts, Grandma. I will miss you when you die. Don't call me." She cut deep and hung up. Afterwards, when my daughter was taking her entrance exams for college, the sister-in-law suddenly contacted her out of the blue. She never gave her contact info, even when her own kids cried to talk to her. "Hello? I've been reaching out to you forever. Give the phone to my kids." "Excuse me? You're 17 years late." "I'm saying that I'll take back my kids that I left you. I appreciate you for looking after them, but they're my adorable children, so I will take care of them." "Take care of them now? What the hell is wrong with her? She must mean she wants them to look after her." I wanted to scream at her. Apparently, she was living with a man she eloped with, but he ended up cheating on her with a younger woman after being dumped. She came back here. She started saying things like she wants to celebrate her daughter's uni acceptance and that she's single now, so she wants to live with them.
Honestly, I thought that it was stupid, but to the kids, she was their real mother. I can't just take their choice away from them. So I decided to let them know that she had called me honestly. I kept it to myself, but I got a call from your biological mother. She wants to live with you too. The two kids wouldn't even let me finish talking. You are my real mom. They were so kind. I would never think a woman that just dumped me is my mom, and I don't want to see her. I would never live with her.
I love you, Mom. I don't know that lady. I'm upset knowing that I was born of her.
Honestly, I was a little worried if they would choose her, but to be honest, maybe it's a little wrong. But after hearing my daughter and son, I was so happy, I began to cry. I got a call from her again later on, but my daughter answered and told her clearly, "You're not my mother. I don't know or care about you. I'm not going to live with you, so don't contact us ever again." She was not beating around the bush. The woman had lost her mind, claiming that I was forcing my kids to say. She was the one that lived her life how she wanted to and left her kids all alone. I really don't understand why she thinks that once she got single, her kids would just accept her. Of course, I think there are some kids who would love their biological mom unconditionally, but I really feel like kids are just a reflection of ourselves. If you give them love and affection, if you don't, they won't either. To me, these two are just as real as my real son, and I'm not going to just let her take them now. I don't know what happened to her after, but she's fairly old now. I'm sure after she was rejected by her man and her own kids, she probably lives a pretty sad and lonely life. I think that she's a pretty miserable person, but as a result of her actions, I was able to take on two beautiful angels, so I've got nothing to hate her for. She does kind of piss me off though. I, on the other hand, was able to go to my daughter's wedding last fall, where she read her letter to me, claiming that I was her real mother. I was bawling, and I couldn't stop at all. My son graduated college, and my biological son also went to the same college, but
There are so many people that know him, so it's so embarrassing.
he seemed happy though. It was cute. My son looked good, and he was good at sports and his studies. He said it was embarrassing because everyone knew his older brother saying things like, "You're his younger brother, right?" Man and woman, it didn't matter. He was asked by everyone and he was almost bragging. Thinking back now, I think that we made an incredible decision to take on two kids that weren't even related to us at all. As a result, I only had one biological child. But that doesn't matter at all. We're all so happy. My kids are great, and I really don't think I would regret anything if I just keeled over tomorrow.
My name is Saki, and I am a 24-year-old office worker. The person I am currently dating is my superior at work, and he is 15 years older than me. But being attracted to his good looks and calm nature, I aggressively pursued him, and I finally got to go out with him recently. My father was a violent man, and I didn't have a good impression of men. My parents divorced when I was very young, and I have lived with my mother ever since. I think, somewhere deep down, I was looking for the ideal, kind, dependable, and fatherly boyfriend. I often had fights with my boyfriends my own age, but I never had any problems with Tomoya. I believed that I could be happy with him because he was generous. I was living such happy days, but one day, I fell into the depths of despair. Saki, I actually have someone I want to introduce you to, and I'm thinking of getting married.
What? Marriage?
Yeah, that sounds good. I had mixed feelings,
But when I thought about my mother's happiness, I wanted to support her if she could lead a happy life with her new partner. Thanks. I knew Saki would say that. I'll bring him home this weekend, so could you meet him? Yeah, okay. And then the weekend. Saki, let me introduce you. This is Tomoya, the man I'm dating with marriage in mind.
Nice to meet you. My name is Tomoya.
I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the man to whom I was introduced. What? Yes, my mother's boyfriend was Tomoya. My boyfriend.
I was so surprised that Naruko has such a beautiful daughter.
Oh my, are you starting to like my daughter more?
No, I'm all about you, Naruko.
Tomoya. Thanks. I just remembered I have something to do, so if you'll excuse me. What? What happened all of a sudden? Sorry, Mom. I'm going out for a bit. With that, I left the house. Tomoya, were you dating my mother on the premise of marriage while you were dating me? I can't believe it! And what are you trying to do? Acting like you just met me for the first time today. That night, I called Tomoya. Hello? Tomoya?
Hello?
Explain what happened today.
Yeah.
According to the story, he met my mother by chance after he started dating me. And they hit it off and ended up going out together.
Sorry, Saki. You're young and cute, but I could only see you like a child or a younger sister. I couldn't see you as a lover.
No way! Then you should have broken up with me earlier.
We're superior and subordinates at work, and I couldn't bring myself to tell you because I thought it would cause some trouble after we broke up.
Did you know I was her daughter?
What?
You weren't that surprised when my mother introduced you. You knew, didn't you, that I was her daughter?
I'm sorry. I noticed when Naruko showed me pictures.
You're the worst! Then you should have broken up with me even sooner.
I'm so sorry. I really didn't know what to do.
That's enough. Tomoya, who I thought was dependable and kind, was just an indecisive, hopeless man. If my mother and Tomoya get married in the future, we will see each other every day. I wasn't confident enough to live my life as if nothing happened, so I decided to be honest and tell my mother everything. Mom, I need to talk to you. What's wrong? It's about Tomoya. He was actually dating me until recently. He was dating you until recently. Which means you're not dating now, right? Yeah. Then there's no problem. He was two-timing you, and with your own daughter. Would you marry someone who knew that and still double-timed you? But it's just me now, right? Then I'm not going to say anything about the past. My mother simply brushed off the fact that she was two-timed. I had forgotten. My mother was a person who lived her life by turning a blind eye to the facts, even when my father was drunk and violent with me when I was little. It's your fault. You should be sorry, she would always tell me, even when I got into a fight with a classmate at school. She didn't even listen to my side of the story, but told me to apologize to them anyway to settle the situation. If you apologize, everything will be okay. I've been told this so much that ever since I can remember, I knew how she felt, so I've never been able to talk back. Tomoya called me afterwards.
I heard you told Naruko-san that you were two-timing her. Naruko forgave me, so leave us alone now.
Then, what about my feelings? I can't accept someone who two-timed with me as my father.
But if we get married, the three of us will live in that house from now on, so let's get along. Normally, we'd live there alone as newlyweds, but you're going to stay at home with us, so let's let bygones be bygones.
It doesn't matter what I say to these people. To them, I'm the one who's standing in the way of them getting along. But I can't accept Tomoya as a father who would two-time me when he knew I was the daughter. I also can't believe my mother who puts her lover first instead of me. I'll never forgive her. And I made up my mind to tell the truth on their wedding day. On the day of Tomoya and my mother's wedding, relatives gathered for the ceremony. Here from the bride's daughter, Saki, would like to offer her congratulations. Yes, I had consulted the people at the ceremony beforehand without telling them. How I want to make a surprise congratulatory speech in front of everyone, their faces pale as they hear my speech for the first time. Tomoya, Mom, I cannot wholeheartedly congratulate the two of you. This is because despite Tomoya two-timing with my mother and I, they decided to get married as if nothing had happened. The hall fell silent at my words. When I was first introduced to Tomoya by my mother, I was utterly surprised. I never thought that my own lover was my mother's lover. I don't consider such a man to be my father, and I don't trust my mother who tried to marry Tomoya even though she knew he was two-timing with her daughter. I don't want to spend my life with these people. I'm leaving home, so please, the two of you, live a life happy on your own.
Hey, is that true?
No, it's not. It's a misunderstanding.
How dare you steal your daughter's boyfriend? Shame on you.
No, it's not like that.
That's insane. Two-timing a mother and her daughter. I'm gonna have to report this to the company. What a scumbag.
The whole place was a complete shitstorm. Then I immediately packed my bags and started living alone. I started a new life on a remote island with a lot of nature and clean air. A relative told me what happened to my mother and Tomoya after that. My mother was scorned by all the relatives and became estranged from them. Tomoya resigned voluntarily due to problems about his girlfriend and two-timing with a subordinate. With no money and increasing fights, they divorced only 3 months after their marriage. 6 months later, my mother contacted me once. Saki, come back! Tomoya and I are already divorced, so please tell your relatives to forgive me. I can't do without you. Please, Saki. I see, but you sowed the seeds yourself. You're on your own. I said that and hung up the phone, and changed my cell phone number too. I will no longer live my life tied down by someone else. I'm going to live my life on my own 2 feet, on my own 2 terms.
My name is Kurumi. I'm 6 months pregnant and I live with my son Atsumu and my husband. One day, my son started saying he didn't want to go to kindergarten. Why don't you want to go? It's because Kaji bullies me. Bullies you? Did he do something to him? No, I didn't do anything, but he just randomly kicks me and hits me with toys. I wouldn't like that either, and it probably hurt, huh? Did you try talking to the teacher? I told her, but he won't stop. I see. Okay, sweetie, I'll talk to his mom, okay? I contacted his mother, but she wouldn't answer. I was at a loss, so I went to the teacher at the kindergarten to ask for help. Kaji wasn't just problematic towards my son, but multiple students at the kindergarten as well. Oh, I've been getting several complaints from other moms too, but telling him doesn't change anything. I don't know what to do about him either. To make things worse, apparently the other moms had tried to call his mother, but she won't answer, so the teachers were also at a loss. I didn't know what to do, but the teachers said they would do better, so I decided to let things play out and see what happened. A week later, I went to the OBGYN for my regular checkup, where I ran into Kaiji-kun's mother. I figured I'd talk to her since I had a chance, but before I said something, she came to me. Hello, Atsumu-kun's mom. Hello, I've got something to ask. Yes, she cut me off as if to stop me from talking. Oh wow, that belly is big. How many months along are you? Do you know the gender? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, we're 6 months along and it's a she. Wow, I'm jealous. I just keep getting sons when I want a daughter. Sons are very cute too. But you wanted a son, right? That's perfect. Huh? You should give me that child as soon as it's born. Oh, what? What are you talking about? I don't understand.
Please don't talk about my child like it's some kind of thing. You said boys are cute. Then you shouldn't want a daughter, right? That's not what I meant. I said sons are cute too. And if it's your own child, it doesn't matter if it's a boy or girl. Are you being serious right now? What the hell is wrong with you? I was supposed to talk about Atsumu, but then she went way off course, so I couldn't help but get heated. Then right around that time, Miss Kurumi, I was called by the nurse to head into the office. Everything was going smoothly, but I was feeling upset after the previous conversation. While I was out to pay for my checkup, she came out again out of the blue. What the hell was that attitude? You're seriously such an annoying bitch. Is that some kind of bullying since I only have boys? I didn't have time to respond before she shoved me out of my chair. Ow! What the hell? I don't know if she did that out of anger or what, but she wouldn't listen to me and people started gathering around me after hearing the rustle. The nurse talked to me. Are you okay? I'm okay, but my foot hurts a little. I was taken once again to the nurse to be seen by the doctor.
Your child is fine, don't worry.
Thank you.
This is a very important time for you, so be very careful, okay?
Oh, okay. My child was fine, but because I was trying to protect my belly, I twisted my ankle. I couldn't forgive her, so I decided in that moment to take my revenge on her as soon as my foot recovered. I was trying to figure out if there was any kind of weakness I could exploit before one day I could see Kaiji-kun playing with Atsumu. You're alone at the park? You wanna come over? Yeah, I'm all alone. Then Kaiji's stomach grumbled. You hungry? It's almost lunch. Where's your mom? She's not here today. Then wanna come over? Have lunch with us? Mommy, I want the child's lunch. Huh? You can make child's lunch? Yeah. Wanna eat with us? Yes. I figured I'd contact his mom, but she didn't answer, so I texted her and left her a message. I brought Kaiji to my house and made him the child's lunch as promised when... I can really eat this? This is my child's lunch? Yeah, eat up. I sometimes made it for Atsumu. The fried shrimp and hamburger patty and tomato sauce spaghetti were in the Hall of Fame. Kaiji had his mouth full as he was enjoying his child's lunch. It's so... good, he said. Then I asked Kaiji-kun, Hey, how's your mommy at home? Mommy? I'm scared of her. I was confused by his reply. Scared? Why are you scared of her? Did you do something to get in trouble? Yeah, Mommy said that she gets irritated watching me, so she always yells at me and hits me. Hitting? No way. I felt a little worried, so I had to move. Can I pull up your shirt for a sec? Yeah. I could see the multiple bruises scattered on his torso. I was at a loss for words. No way. This is totally abnormal. I thought that I could find a weakness to take my revenge. I didn't realize that I would find someone getting abused as a result. Your mommy did this? Yeah. Daddy is always at work, and when he's not around, she's like that. At that moment,
I'm home.
my husband came home, so I explained everything and showed him the bruises.
We should go to the police.
I went straight to the police station after he said that to us with Kaiji in tow. I explained everything to the police before showing them the bruises. They looked serious. I also put in a complaint for my own case. Of course, Kaiji's mom was arrested immediately. You snitched! You bitch! She was yelling as she was taken away. Then, his father showed up and was told what was happening. He came back and immediately brought money for the treatment of my ankle, as well as any emotional damages.
I'm so sorry. I know that saying I didn't know isn't enough, so I'm so terribly sorry about everything.
Kaiji's father divorced his wife over this whole thing and took full custody of Kaiji. As a result, he was going to change his place of employment as well.
Are you feeling okay?
Oh, yeah. My child is fine. How is Kaiji?
I'm going to raise Kaiji with love and care from now on.
Afterwards, Kaiji transferred kindergartens as well.
Hatsumu, I'm sorry for hitting you so much.
Yeah, it's okay. Let's be friends. They made up before Kaiji transferred. He was also apologizing to every single person he ever hit. I think that his violent outbursts were a result of his mother. After figuring things out with everyone and moving, he made a lot of friends at his new kindergarten. His father sent us a letter written by him with a photo of Kaiji. When I heard my son was being bullied, I was honestly pretty upset, but I mean, everyone has to look after their own, right? But after figuring out what was going on in their family, I felt like I couldn't just leave that alone. I needed to act. That's why I was really glad to hear that Kaiji was doing really well. According to what happened later on, Kaiji's mother couldn't have a daughter, but it was because of the father. She was repeatedly having some donations made with other men. As a result, she was infected with a disease that made her infertile. Additionally, her ex-husband was suing her for such a large sum that she is living a terrible life.
Thank you for watching all the way to the end. What did you think of today's episode? Leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on today's story. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe!